I lie on the bed, spread-eagled like a woman in labor as my partner, red in the face, begins his own more expansive search. Today I fucked up on Reddit Rundown. We've got some interesting stories for you today. Earlier tonight, my wife had a small red bump on the side of her foot. She took some ibuprofen and the redness and swelling went away, but she swore she felt a lump in her foot where the bump was. She can be a bit of a hypochondriac, so either to put her mind at ease I would use a flashlight to put against her foot to show her veins. My train of thought was we would see her veins, and if there was a lump of some sort, we would see it in such a small thin bony part of the body. Once we didn't see anything, she would relax. So, my plan worked and she immediately felt better. But it forgot how cool it is to see the red skin and veins in your body. I decided to do it on myself. I sat on the coffee table and put the flashlight under my left hand, using the right hand to hold the flashlight. This isn't a normal flashlight. It's a 1000 lumen tactical flashlight. So, I had it up against my hand and am amazed by all the vessels running through my palm and fingers. I lean over and am staring intensely. Suddenly the lens got really hot. I don't know how hot it was, but it burned just like touching a hot stove. I moved my hand instead of the flashlight. The problem was I was still looking down at the light. 1000 lumens straight to eyes. It immediately blinded me, and the natural reaction was to sit up and throw myself backwards. I fell over off the coffee table and landed between the couch and coffee table. So, I'm laying there, burned and blind, trying to think why I do this kind of stuff to myself. It's been 30 minutes and I still see a bright circle when I blink. I'd been dating my boyfriend for about 4 months. The sex was phenomenal. I'd had problems with vaginismus in the past, a condition in which my vaginal muscles just refused to cooperate with penetration. This problem had gone away with my partner, so this was somewhat of a sexual awakening for me, and we'd go at it like 4 or 5 times a day. Life was great. Due to migraines, and not being allowed hormonal birth control as a result, and bad experiences with the copper coil, we used condoms exclusively as birth control. However, a peculiar phenomenon started to occur with the condoms. For some reason, about 50% of the time, when the deed was done and we gracefully detached ourselves from one another, the condom would no longer be on his shaft but dangling from the opening of my lady parts. It was like my vagina would grab onto the condom and refuse to let it go. My partner laughed it off as me having the vagina from teeth. We tried all sorts of different condoms. Latex-free, expensive ones. My partner began to feel insecure that his penis was too small and the condoms were too large to stay on. As a joke, I bought him a world's smallest condom, our first argument. I learned that day that joking about your partner's penis size is a no-go, however joking about vaginas having teeth is fine. Then one day it happened. We're sweaty and breathless and we pull apart from each other. I look down at his penis and the condom isn't there. I reach down to pull it from myself, but it isn't there. Panic sets in. I rush to the bathroom. Due to the vaginismus, I find it very hard to put tampons in, far less search the deepest caverns of my lady cave for a shriveled up condom. I'm freaking out, and rummaging around like a pensioner at a car boot sale. I'm crying and shaking, and my partner's at the bathroom door knocking incessantly, asking if I'm okay and if I wanted him to have a crack at it. Desperate, I agree. I lie on the bed, spread-eagled like a woman in labor as my partner, red in the face, begins his own more expansive search. He manages to get a grip on it, but due to the clenching caused by the vaginismus is unable to pull it out. Fuck. Flash forward to an embarrassing trip to the ER, a scarring experience with a young student doctor who is unable to keep a straight face as he successfully pulls out the long, wet and sticky condom, where my partner and myself had failed. I'm happy to be home, in bed. In amongst the chaos, me and my partner had altogether forgotten about the sex education classes we had in primary school. A month later I stare down at a positive pregnancy test, and 3 months after that I'm staring at a 4D scan of a baby that looks like the fetus Lord Voldemort that Harry finds in King's Cross. Obligatory. This happened 4 years ago during the first week of freshman year of college. Going into my freshman year of college, I put that I wanted to be in a substance-free environment. In my mind, I thought this meant cigarette-free housing. Who wants to be in a dorm that reeks of cigarette smoke, right? As I'm moving in and meeting everyone on my floor, I realize this was a huge mistake. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty cringe, as you will soon learn by the end of this story, but everyone on my floor was way more socially awkward than I was. After I'm done moving in, I'm looking for the drinking fountain to fill up my water. I turn the corner and there's an absolutely gorgeous, pale skin, brunette filling up her water bottle. She's wearing gray sweatpants and a white shirt with no bra on, and I could tell she had a tight body with a fantastic ass and huge perky tits. She was definitely one of the most attractive girls I had ever seen in person. I was a virgin at this point, so my heart started pounding, I couldn't breathe, and I could literally feel my junk getting hard. I was also extremely confused why she was in our substance-free building. She turned to me and smiled, introduced herself, and just absolutely carried the conversation. The only thing that I remember from that conversation is that absolutely nothing was going on in my head. My brain stopped working. After that, we would sit next to each other during orientation, eat meals together, and literally do everything together. I was so confused as to why she was hanging out with me. The only reason I can think of was because I was an athlete in a building of socially awkward people, so I probably was one of her only options. Since the first week of freshman orientation, we had to do everything as a building. During this first week, I had several team events to attend. I'd never drank before, so I just went batshit crazy at all the parties. I also had all the orientation stuff, practices, and gamed way too much since it was the first time being away from home and not having parents watching over me. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that I was running on very little sleep. Here's where the fuck up comes. The night before classes officially started, I was gaming and she was sitting on my bed talking to me while I gamed away. At 11 p.m., I turn off my computer and go lay in bed since I had to wake up early for morning practice and was so tired. I crawl into bed and laid down behind her. She gets on top of me and is sitting on my rock-hard cock. She takes off her shirt and starts to kiss me and notices that I'm not really kissing back. Again, I'm a virgin, have only kissed one girl before this, am extremely tired, and honestly pretty intimidated because I was pretty inexperienced and I didn't know if she liked me or not. Yes, you read that correctly, I'm blind and dumb. She sits upright and says, "We don't have to do this if you don't want to." Okay. That's all I said before I turned over and fell asleep almost immediately. At the time and for months, I don't know how, but I actually didn't know that she wanted to have sex with me until she explicitly told me almost 4 months later. Obligatory note. This happened yesterday. This whole thing started because for the entire time since my wife and I bought our house, we've seen a crapload of spiders. I have such an intense fear of spiders ever since I was a kid. I'm sure many people feel the same way. Anyways, this has gone on for some time, and using an exterminator for the 4x per year spraying hasn't really helped. I found a spider about 6 inches big that was black and yellow when I was weed whacking this summer, and that was the last straw. I got rid of that company and decided to take action myself. So, I bought a very large container of spider killer and repellent and went to town all around the outside of the house. I laid out a ton of those spider traps with that sticky stuff on the inside in every nook and cranny I could think of. This stuff all seems to have made some spiders come indoor. I've been killing them all over, especially near our old windows. My office has an old window. I had an upcoming video conference, and like most people, I was wearing sweatpants on my off-camera legs. About 30 minutes before the call, I had killed a huge spider crawling up the wall next to my monitor. So, during a conference call with a CFO of one of our company's prospective clients, I saw movement across my sweatpants, right over my crotch. Another spider was back and on me. My brain decided that between fight or flight, it was going to fight. Without hesitation, I punched down so hard to kill the spider but hit myself in the nuts. I started coughing on video and got extremely nauseous, but after I fell out of my chair, I had to pull myself together and give the rest of my sales pitch. Turns out, it was just my drawstring that fell out of position. I had to ice my coin purse for the rest of the day. I hate spiders. Thanks for listening to Reddit Rundown. Give a thumbs up and subscribe, and help me get to 1,000 subs. Leave a comment below on what kind of topics or stories you would like to hear. You can also check out other videos on my channel. Thanks and have an awesome day.